Before we jump in, hit that subscribe button. It really helps the channel out. The work party looked perfectly ordinary at first. The standard corporate chatter. Glasses clinking. Smiles so polished they could have been printed onto brochures. Emily looked incredible in her navy dress. And for a brief moment, I honestly thought the night would stay peaceful. That illusion shattered the moment her boss, Daniel, appeared like the star of some show only he cared about. He strutted across the room with whiskey in one hand and that signature smirk plastered on his face, greeting people like they were loyal followers instead of co-workers. I'd seen ego before, but whatever he was radiating tonight was in a league of its own. I'd met Daniel a few times, quick introductions, stiff handshakes, but tonight his vibe was different. He kept giving me this mocking, almost taunting look, the expression of a man who believed no one in the room could touch him. Emily's smile was present, but her whole body felt tense. Something was off. I could feel it, but instead of questioning her, I chose to simply watch. Quiet observation always beats loud reactions. Pretty soon, that choice mattered. A crowd formed around Daniel as he delivered one of his jokes. The kind of joke that isn't actually funny, just sharp enough to make insecure people laugh, so they could stay in his good graces. Emily and I stood together, but Daniel kept drifting closer, hovering, pushing into my space on purpose. His eyes glinted with the kind of challenge only insecure men display. And then he made his move. He tapped his glass, loud enough to pull attention, and called out, "Emily, aren't you going to introduce your husband?" The little pause before husband wasn't an accident. People turned. Conversation slowed. Emily swallowed and forced a gentle smile. "Daniel, you've met him before," she tried, hoping to calm things down. But he wasn't done, not even close. He let out a loud laugh that cut into nearby conversations. Right. The husband," he mocked, taking a drink. Then he leaned in. "Tell me, man, how does it feel being the plus one tonight?" The reaction wasn't loud, but the shift was real. A few employees exchanged uncomfortable looks. Emily stiffened beside me. I just smiled. His jab didn't land. It simply confirmed exactly what I already knew. He needed a public ego boost to feel relevant. And he kept going. "Must be rough," he added with that smirk. "Walking into a room full of people who actually make real decisions." His voice rose just enough for surrounding clusters to hear. Emily whispered, "Daniel, stop." But he waved her off dismissively, the way adults brush away a child trying to speak. At that point, he wasn't insulting me. He was revealing himself. I held steady, calm, unbothered, almost amused. That unsettled him far more than anger ever could. Finally, I spoke, low, controlled, and clear enough for the right people to hear. "You seem awfully interested in how I feel." I tilted my head. Should I be flattered or concerned? His smirk flickered. A tiny crack, but a crack nonetheless. Bullies crumble when you don't feed them emotion. He straightened up, trying to hide his discomfort. "Relax," he said, forcing another laugh. "We're just having fun. Work hard, play hard, you know?" The smile was still there, but his eyes were tight. He could feel the room watching him now. And then it escalated. Daniel placed his hand on Emily's waist. Not a friendly touch. Not professional. A deliberate, territorial move meant to humiliate me. Emily froze. Employees looked away uncomfortably. Daniel raised an eyebrow at me, waiting for me to lose control. Instead, I stepped forward just slightly and said in a calm, steady voice, "Take your hand off my wife." No rage, no threats, just a clear instruction. And he obeyed instantly. That single moment sent a shockwave through the room. His mask slipped. He laughed nervously and tried to brush it off. "Come on, man. It's a party." But no one was buying it anymore. His power, his swagger, all of it cracked. That's when I made my move. Slowly, deliberately, I reached inside my jacket and pulled out a sleek envelope. Emily looked confused. Daniel's expression tightened. The whole room held its breath. I handed it to him. "If you like attention so much," I said quietly, "you might want to read this before you embarrass yourself any further." He frowned and tore it open. Within seconds, the color drained from his face. The letterhead alone made his jaw clench. corporate headquarters, executive board, a memo he never expected anyone here to see. I let him read it twice, deliberately, so the dread had time to sink into his bones. The memo was straightforward. Daniel was under internal investigation for multiple HR complaints and financial discrepancies, and leadership had already appointed an external consultant to temporarily oversee his department. That consultant was me, the man he'd been mocking all evening. And this was the first moment the staff was finding out. A whisper rippled through the room. Someone quietly gasped. Someone else murmured, "No way." Daniel's hands trembled slightly as he looked up at me. You're the consultant?" he stammered. His arrogance evaporated instantly. His grip on the room vanished. The employees who once laughed at his jokes now stared at him like he was already finished. Emily stood frozen, staring at the scene unfolding in front of her. I stepped closer and spoke softly. "You should really be mindful of how you treat people, especially the one who's about to audit your entire department." He opened his mouth, but nothing came out. The party, once loud and cheerful, turned completely silent. Every set of eyes locked onto Daniel. For the first time that night, he looked small, not powerful, not respected, just scared. The silence finally broke when I turned to Emily and said, "I'm ready to go home." She nodded quickly, still absorbing everything. We walked out side by side while the entire room stared at Daniel, pale, frozen, and stripped of the authority he worshipped so much. The man who tried to humiliate me in front of everyone had just been professionally dismantled. Quietly, calmly, completely.